till I came here.
Star Wars. Jedi Survivor. It's a good game. It's about as good as the first one. It's more or less the same. The gameplay, graphics, it was better. Obviously, the only reason why the first one could be considered a little bit better is because of the originality. But other than that, I think it was bigger, it was better. It's more open world, kinda, which is nice. Even though the first game was pretty good about a lot of exploring, but within the places that you go to. But here, it was definitely a little bit more open and more kind of, it really incentivized exploring even more, which was kind of cool because the first game did that pretty well. I guess the thing is you have to want to explore. Like for me, it's like, hey, I'll run around and do whatever, find stuff, which it's cool because you can always find something, like a box to open, a shortcut to unlock, a new enemy, a secret little hidden boss, kinda, some door to unlock. But the only issue I have, even with this game, the maps are just kinda, they're a little wonky. You're just trying to find your way around and, okay, this looks like somewhere I need to go. How do I get there? You know, to get almost any... The verticality and with how much bigger these maps are in this game, it's still kind of a pain. Which sucks because in order to access a lot of these things, you might not be able to really just keep getting to now, because you're going to go through the map. Like what I did was I'd find stuff a little bit more naturally organic. Just be like, okay, I see this, I go here, go there. I don't know, I want to say it's an even better game than I wish I could get it credit for, because the traversal isn't that great. It's still not. I'm kind of picky. I'm not into wall jumping, I'm not into wall climbing or running or all these things, and that's kind of what this whole game is. It's the same issue I had with the first game. It's like, dude, I realize I'm a Jedi, they're very agile, they can breathe underwater with their rebreathers. They're strong, they're really quick, they can run, all these things, meditation, being healthy. I don't know what their workout routine is. Obviously the power of the force, gravity's on their side, all these things can jump from pretty high up-ish. But my issue with this game is like, they want you to do all these things and go to all these places, but it's like, I just want to like beat down bad guys and I want to find cool stuff, but you gotta wonder like at what cost. Like thankfully the environment and the music and the atmosphere and the vibes are good enough where it kind of makes up for whatever issues you might have with that, but I don't know, man. As a Jedi, I just want to like, I want to do cool stuff. I don't want to like bust my butt looking around for all this crap. Like in the movies, you never really see any of that, which is cool here because it's like, okay, if I was a Jedi, this is probably close to what they could be doing. They're always on some kind of mission, doing something. But that doesn't exactly mean that, you know, this is solely focused on Jedis, which is cool. And I think a lot of games, other than what Jedi Academy, things like that, they're not really focused as much on the Jedi part of things. So it's like, I mean, these are the top dogs, dude. I realize in this universe, there's a lot of obstacles. There's a lot of... You might have to climb up somewhere. You might have to jump on a speeder in the middle of Coruscant. You might have to... all the things that Jedi can do. I think they're a little too exaggerated here, and... you know, the puzzles and this and that, like on paper it makes sense. It's just I don't like the execution of it, like having to actually do all these things. Give me a flat ground, little bit of climbing, jumping here and there. That's what half this game is that. And then you do this whole Doom 2016 style map where it's this whole 3D thing. I can't stand it. I can't. I like so much of the game other than that, and it kills me. Because that's the thing, I like the exploring, I like all that stuff, but how you do it, how you go about it, the mobility, the traverse, it just bothers me. Yeah, it's the second game, or it's the first game, just a little bit more things to do. It's about just as nitpicky with like all the parts and all the different things, the customization, which is pretty lackluster, but I have noticed though that if you do a new game plus, it does kind of add on to like what is possible within the game. And I think I've seen mods too where you can, I shouldn't even be saying that word, but where you can kind of really dig a little deeper into just how you look and pretty much cosmetically, but I mean, it's important when you're this guy wandering around doing these things. Like, dude, being a Jedi is a job, man. It's a chore. The amount of things that you alone might be able to do, and in this case, there's like no other Jedi, dude. It's all up to you. This is what they do, and in a weird way, it kind of turns me off to it because it's like, you know, I think of a clone trooper, stormtrooper, pretty much like ground forces, infantry, the military side of it. Even just really whatever, like in most other games I've seen or can think of, I've never really seen so much traversal. Like this shit, I think this could have been more fun if like, hey, I'm gonna ride a speeder 1 minute, I'm gonna ride a vehicles. You know, Jedi drive vehicles quite a bit. Give me hell, let me drive around in like a little spaceship. I guess we're kind of getting in the realm of Battlefront territory or something like that. Starfighter stuff. But this whole being on the ground the whole time, wandering around. It kind of takes the immersion out of you a little bit because it's such an immersive game, but like, you know, oh, how convenient. Oh, this leads to that, and this, everything is just a domino effect. And just like, what are the odds of all this kind of happening to work out the way that it does to get to wherever it is that we need to go to? I don't know. Cutscenes are cool.
Sarah's on lockdown. State your business.
Shown.
Believe the rumors. The Jedi. We brought him in alive.
The Senator is expecting us.
And that's the thing. I don't like wandering around doing this and that. It kind of sucks. It kind of drags on. It can be frustrating. The puzzles can be hard to figure out. It has its problems. The map. Other than that, it's like, hey, I've grown to like Cal. He's actually not a bad guy once you get to know him. I know at first it's kind of like, oh, who's this new guy, whatever. BD is a good droid companion. I like our friends. I like meeting these new people, these new characters. These new-ish locations. I don't know. This one felt very... It was, I don't think it hit quite as hard with the Inquisitors and stuff in the first game, but, it was good, though. Like, I enjoyed it. Like, it is a Souls-like game, too, so that's another reason, on top of the wandering around everywhere, that I'm not crazy about. But thankfully in this game, it's really not that bad. You know, it's just about being responsible and like getting your stuff back if you almost lose it. It's really not as punishing, thankfully. But yeah, I don't know, the cutscenes make up for a lot of the problems I have. The graphics are pushed pretty hard on this one, because this was definitely more tailored toward next gen, obviously, than the first one. But it has that same problem with a lot of next gen games where it's like, hey, it looks pretty, but it's kind of leaves a lot of trails graphically, like when you're moving around. Even on just performance mode. Like, they upscale these games so much where they almost barely even work. It's insane. This game, it's not optimized very well. I've had some crashes, some glitches, some bugs, or whatever you want to call them. Which was unfortunate, but I guess it's something you kind of just deal with. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of pros and cons, actually. Saying it all out loud, it's good and bad. I mean, for the most part, I want to say it's good, for sure, but... You know, it's definitely not what it's cracked up to be. Like, the presentation's great, the quality, all these things, but just like most games, there are going to be problems. And it's unfortunate because there are a lot of good games out there that are even better optimized and all these things, and You know, this game has the potential to kind of be so much more than it is. That's what I don't like the most, is the fact that I see what's here and I see what's in front of me. If it was just done a little bit differently, like, take it easy on the puzzles and the traversal and just let us wander around, let us do our thing, let us kill bad guys and do what's fun and what's actually nice to do. And here's the thing, there's either people that like that stuff and there's people that don't. I don't want that stuff in my Star Wars game. But I also have to realize too, like, every Star Wars game is so different because of what it focuses on. It's such a big world that it's like, hey, in this game, this is what you're able to do, and in this game, that's what you're able to do. But I look at it like, okay, well, we have so many modern, accessible Star Wars games that aren't, you know, 10, 15 years old or older than that even. So, I don't know. I guess the only thing you can do is, if you don't like these games as much as you could, all it is waiting for the next Star Wars game, the next one, the next one. But I keep wondering, sitting here, like, when is that gonna be, man? What do we have right now? Battlefront 1 and 2. Okay. The remakes, whatever you want to call them. They're basically remakes, yeah. And the Jedi games, that's it. You know, other than that, you're literally left with, like I said, games that are about as old as I am. So, I don't know. And usually a lot of those games are either cheap, or they're on sale, but they don't work as well, or they're just, you know, someone may not be into games that old, even if they're PS4, PS5 versions. I don't know. I like Star Wars, but, you know, I've played those games before. I don't really have an interest of playing those now. And then I guess you got online stuff too, but I wouldn't want to mess with that, but I don't know, Star Wars offers so much. But one of their flagship top tier elite games is supposed to be this Jedi game. This and Battlefront, which are two very different games, by the way. In Battlefront, you can kind of do whatever you want. Here, it's like, it's definitely obviously more tailored towards single player story, open world, kind of. But the drawback is that you have to kind of do all this weird stuff. And a lot of it just feels so random, and I know the Star Wars universe can kind of seem that way sometimes. It's like, you know, where are we? What are we doing? What's going on? You just kind of go with it, I guess. But yeah, in this game, it's like, I don't know, I guess I was never really comfortable the whole time. Because I was like, oh, I hate this one minute, I like it the next. This boss is really hard. Next thing, you're just kind of wandering around, chilling. There's some towns you can hang out in, which is kind of nice. Little hub area, base things. You can kind of relax there a little bit more and chill out. Do some extra little things to occupy your time, take a break. But that's what it feels like, though. It's like, okay, now I'm in the safe area. Oh, now I gotta go back out there and do a lot of things I don't want to do. But it feels good though when you're progressing, you're getting to that next place, you're getting the game done. But the whole time I was playing, I was like, at what cost? Because all the problems I was having with it, everything together, that feeling never really went away. It's like any minute now I was expecting a crash, something. So it kind of sucks that this game was like so good, but it was so bad. It really is like a 50-50 kind of on the fence thing. Gameplay is cool.
Get him! I've got you.
Dead or alive, just get him!
That all you got, Senator? Come on out. We'll talk.
But yeah, that's my point, is like the combat can be fun. All the skills and abilities, and you know, because the combat here is even more opened up than it was in the first game, so there you go. But yeah, it's just it's tough because, well, this isn't open world. Like, you go from one place to another. Maybe you can call it open planet, but it's not one, you know, one entire thing like a big sandbox, you know, like a traditional. But the good and bad part about having all this accessibility to so many different areas, doing so many different things, is that it's, some of it's probably gonna suck. I think they lean too heavy on the fact that, like, people like open world games. You know, what would a Jedi game like that be? And this is what they came up with. Like, it was this whole, you know, story's okay, this and that, blah blah blah. You're kind of just along for the ride the whole time anyway. I don't know. I love stories. I love single player games. That's all I play, and that's all I sit there and I enjoy it. I try to get immersed, all these things, relax, chill. But when it's a game like this, something that's not Skyrim, where you're kind of just, I mean, you're all in there. It's you against the world. Here it's, you know, I can handle like every other enemy I see trying to kill me. You know, all these obstacles I need to get past, all these things, all these problems I need to solve, all these issues, blah blah blah. But it still just never changed the fact that, like, there was just always this kind of continuous struggle, somehow, some way, for some reason, somewhere. Almost the whole time. You know, even going back to the first game alone, it's like, you know, I think, I want to say a lot of people had a hard time connecting with Cal. Like, you know, you give us Anakin and all these great big characters that we've known for so long, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, who's the new guy? And we get to know him more, and he does mature, and he does grow as a character development, backstory, all these things. It's just more and more and more. I don't know, but then it becomes like, I felt like, you know, a quarter of the way, it kind of became more about everybody else. And I guess in a way that's kind of what Star Wars can do pretty well, is like, you know, it's not always about Luke. It's not always about him or her or this or that or whatever. It's about, he's kind of just a front man. It becomes more about the bad guys. It becomes more about your friends. The things that you see. Because at this point, Cal's just a cameraman at this point. That's what I liked about the first game, is it was mostly about him. And it's like, okay, well, now we've got to know him a little bit more. And now it's more about everybody else, which is cool and all, but it's like, you know, did you guys forget the whole fact that this is who we're playing as? We are the main character. You're gonna build him up so much, and then just break him down. You know, about a quarter of the way through the game, it's almost like Wouldn't have mattered if we played as Cal or some ghost or some faceless person, or because that's exactly who he became, was kind of like just a distant. He was still very much there, sure, but that's what I have the issues like with the movies. They did a really good job at focusing on the people they were focusing on. Who is this all about right now? Later, then, whatever. They did a good job at kind of cutting that apart. Like, did they ever focus on one singular person way too much? No. But here it's like they took a whole different direction. It is a sequel, it is a whole nother game than the first, but... And I'm not trying to give the first game too much credit either, because it's like, yes, it had more charm because that's how it first started. Whatever it is that this is that we're doing, I get it. But my problem was, all these people around Cal, do I care about them? Do I want to get to know who they are? Do I actually give a shit? Not really. It kind of, so this is what happened is I barely liked Cal, started to like him, then it didn't become about him anymore, it became about everybody else. I'm like, what are we doing here? These games are just weird, they're like so confusing, like you never really, I don't know if that's just the mentality of a Jedi or like what it is that they were trying to do there, or some kind of message they're trying to send, like this is the world and the reality of a Jedi. Is that what we're supposed to get out of this, or what? What's the deal? But it's funny because I can pick this game apart as many times as I want, all the pieces, and lay them out on the ground or something. It's like a computer. If you're trying to just to put it all back together, good fucking luck with that, because it's a wild, weird ride. It's enjoyable. I think this is the perfect definition of the fact that Star Wars has known where it's been, where it is, where it's going. And they really do feel like the shows, even now, Disney, they really do feel like they could just get away with anything. They can do anything. They have all the power in the world. They don't care. Because what has Star Wars become? It's a cash grab. People eat Star Wars up. I do. I consume it. But I also know when to like step back and take another look at what it is that's in front of me and what I'm doing and playing too, versus, or what I'm watching even, versus I don't let that fandom like completely control me and take over my body and my mind and soul and my heart. Like, I grew up with Star Wars just as much as anybody else has, more or less. Like, it was involved in my life regardless, and some people like it, some people don't. Which is weird, but like, who doesn't like Star Wars? There's some people out there. But this is almost the perfect game for me too, because I know what it's like to kind of be in that middle neutral ground of I can take it or leave it, I can live with it, live without it, games, no games, Star Wars, no Star Wars. So I get to look at it in a very, you know, I can see it from the inside out, or however you want to call it. So it's almost that perfect game for me to play because of the fact that it's so easy for somebody just like me to spot all these problems, these good things. So that's where I'm at with it. But yeah. Star Wars. I keep wanting to say Fallen Order. Jedi Fallen... Jedi Survivor. It's not bad. Doop 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 doop.